is sanctimonious and his poll numbers are dropping like a rock. I would almost be inclined to say these are record falls. The question, is Rob just young, inexperienced, and naive, or, more troubling, is he a fool who has no idea what the hell he's doing? We already have one of those in office. We don't need another one. We need MAGA, Make America Great Again. That's what we want, Make America Great Again. We have no choice. This is the last shot we've got at it. If we don't win this time, our country's in really big trouble. December of 2017, Ron DeSanctimonious was polling at 5% in the Republican primary for governor of Florida, 5%. DeSantis had virtually no endorsements and was being drastically outraised by Agricultural Commissioner Adam Putnam, the widely viewed favorite. He was going to win. He was going to win easy. He was way up. Ron had zero chance of winning. On December 21st, 2017, a man named President Donald J. Trump endorsed in support of Ron DeSanctimonious. His polling skyrocketed, and DeSantis won the Republican primary 57-37. He was down so many points, and all of a sudden he wins by 20. He was already looking for jobs. But he did it because of President Trump. Thank you very much, Ron. When the Ron DeSanctimonious facts come out, you will see that he's better than most Democrat governors, but very average at best compared to Republican governors who have done a fantastic job. How about the fact that he had the third most deaths of any state having to do with the China virus or COVID? Even Cuomo did better. He was number 4. He shut down everything, including the beaches. Other Republican governors didn't do that. They kept it open. It was their choice. I gave them all their choice. The Democrats blew it big. A lot of Republican governors did a fantastic job. And look at Disney and what a mess it is. Could have worked out an easy settlement, but no, he wanted to show the fake news how tough a guy he is. He's not. And the whole Disney thing is really very unfortunate. Now thousands and thousands of jobs are being stopped, and a lot of people are very upset about it.
We are kind of melting the servers, which is a good sign.
Let's see, so, are we on? Yeah, I think so.
Just to simplify this, there's 382,000 people in the room.
All right, great. So let's see.
So they just keep crashing, huh?
Yeah, I think we've got just a massive number of people online, so it's servers are straining somewhat. I think there's some delay. All right, we're just reallocating more server capability to be able to handle the load here. It's really going crazy.
I'm here.
I know. I think you broke the internet there. We had over 500,000 people in one Twitter space, and it was growing by like 50,000 a minute. So, congrats on breaking the internet there.
So we will reverse Biden's energy policies very quickly, but we also need a Federal Reserve that's going to focus on maintaining a stable dollar. They should not be the economic central planner for our country. They're not accountable to anybody. They're not elected by anybody. And yet their printing of money has really thrust us into this. They said there wouldn't be inflation, and yet here we are. Now they've been hiking interest rates, and that hurts the economy. So we need a Fed focused on a stable dollar, and don't worry about trying to manipulate the rest of the economy. No, I would not keep Chris Wray as director of the FBI. There'd be a new one on day one. I think that's very important. In terms of an attorney general, you need someone that's got a really strong backbone. You need somebody that knows if you're going in there and you're taking care of business, the Washington Post is not going to like you. New York Times is not going to like you. You're going to get attacked by CNN, and you got to wear that as a badge of honor.
También aprovecho para decirle al señor Santi que ayer se destapó.
I also take this opportunity to tell Mr. DeSantis, who yesterday announced his candidacy. All of his playing politics with migrants was because he wanted to be the Republican Party candidate. So yesterday he announced his candidacy. What he enforced in Florida, an anti-immigrant policy, I wish the Hispanics of Florida wake up and don't give him a single vote. Mr. DeSantis need to be questioned because it could be, as they are very hypocritical, he could have migrants working for him. DeSantis talked about fentanyl, again thinking that's going to get him votes. Maybe the fentanyl is coming through Florida.
a su servicio.
Han sido muchos los temas, además de la inseguridad que usted sabe que sigue presente.
Sacó también lo mismo, lo del fentanilo, pensando que con eso va a obtener voto. En una de esas, el fentanilo está llegando por Florida.
This is a man who has, in a very short time, introduced and passed multiple acts of legislation that serve to erase or harm some of the most vulnerable members of the LGBTQ community, but really all of them. And I might add that a lot of that legislation also serves to harm and erase the most vulnerable across the board. This is a city that recently inaugurated our drag laureate. We also are the birthplace of drag story hour, and the very art of drag has been a focal point for hatred from Governor Desantis. So I find it concerning that someone who's supposed to, actively sought out to acquire this company, has been, in the Bay Area for such a long time, would align himself with a campaign like this.
I just, excuse my French, but I just thought it was like bullshit. None of what he was saying, I think, was actually true. And it was very painful to listen to someone speak that was launching himself to be president, for a presidential bid. And him to just say many remarks that were just not founded on truth, while claiming that he was leading his campaign founded on facts and truth, when in reality, it's nothing of the sort.
Just a massive number of people online, so it's serves as restraining somewhat.
This is really embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing.
It's really embarrassing for Ron DeSantis, for Elon Musk.
Governor DeSantis, make this.
It says Twitter Spaces crashing faster than Ron DeSantis' presidential campaign.
After experiencing what happened on Twitter, I don't have much faith in his campaign, just because I think it's very telling that if no one's ever done this on Twitter and Twitter Spaces before, and knowing how Twitter's been having a lot of failure problems because of all the staff that they lost, like, to have his team and himself believe that this was going to be a successful launch for his campaign, and it completely failing, is so telling on how the rest of his campaign is going to go. What concerns me the most is how he handled the pandemic. He let bars open up early. He let students back into classrooms. He spread wrong information to the people of Florida. So if he did that for his own constituents in Florida, I can't even imagine what he's going to do for the nation if he should become elected president. And that concerns me. That worries me, because that's just, he's putting people in harm's way with the power that he has. And so that it's scary, because Florida is not the only state that would back someone up like him, and I could see other states falling for the same policies that he's been putting in place.
From what I understand, it was incredibly boring and rigid and scripted, but more I'm confused by his decision to run. I know that several people in Florida want him to run, and maybe even elsewhere, but my feeling is Ron DeSantis ran for governor, to be reelected governor, and was voted in, and I think that that's a commitment that he should fulfill his term as governor before looking towards another office, unless he got seriously ill or needed to leave for some other reason. But running for the presidency just doesn't seem like a valid reason to lead the governorship right now, when he just got elected in. I think that DeSantis comes off as extremely far right, which I think puts off a lot of voters and even people who might have previously supported him. I don't think that he's a bad guy. I think he's really done amazing things for Florida and helped their economy. But I think policy-wise, the only thing that I'm really familiar with is his fierce advocacy for children and parents in terms of schools and what is being shown to kids in schools and what they're being taught, and his willingness to go toe-to-toe with Disney, which for me feels like it's about time.
Well, I'm not surprised. We knew he was going to do that, but I would say he is the worst thing that's happened to Florida, and I would hate to see him do that to the rest of the country. Well, I feel like we're now living in a place where there's a lot of retribution. So if you don't agree with him, if you want to go out and speak out against decisions that are being made countrywide or even locally, that you really have to watch out. There's a lot of retribution. There are laws being passed that you're not allowed to meet. I would say that Florida is where freedom comes to die.
My thoughts are I'm for anybody who wants to work with America first. You know, he's against the Ukraine money, and so am I. I mean, we got homeless here, that we got veterans here that need help. So I am for anybody that wants to put the money into America. I follow Christian ethics. So you got to follow where your heart is, and if you look at everything in the picture, it's a no-brainer.
There is no choice between Trump and DeSantis. They're both equally horrible picks for president. And like, this isn't to say I'm a huge Biden fan. I respect what he's done, but I was never a big Biden voter to begin with, but I understood why he needed to enter the race when he did, and that was to pull votes away from.
It's one thing to compete by yourself in the state of Florida. It's quite another to go head-to-head with Trump and to take on him with all of his insults and all of his pettiness, and frankly with the might of the Trump supporters that are never going to abandon him, going forward and everything. Yeah. But do you think that there are more people that are suddenly going to vote Republican now because DeSantis is on there?
Oh God, no.
I think
God,
it really comes down to you're basically Trump and DeSantis are competing for the same voters, and it's a question of which one are they going to choose? So I don't think either one of these is going to take middle America and move them to the middle. On the other hand, I think people, Biden has a very solid platform which he used to win the last time, which is essentially, I am not these guys.
Yeah,
and I'm the party of, I'm the choice of anti-crazy.
He's one of the people that's trying to send us back to 1952, the McCarthy era, where anyone with facial hair is a communist, and he keeps trying to separate everyone into different herds and keep them penned up. He's against people living the way they want to live. I think it's like being at the circus and the clown car, and all these guys are the clowns that come out of the car, and they keep coming and coming and coming. It's not looking to the future, it's looking to the past. It's exactly the opposite of what was happening in the country 10 years ago, where we were actually starting to move forward. And now we're regressing at a very fast rate.